Hey guys, Q here, and this is a video for Final Fantasy VII Remake, how to defeat the Airbuster on hard mode. Before we get into the actual battle, I want to show you this screen of the parts that I discarded. I chose to do all three big bomber shells because when I was practicing this fight, those seemed a bit more dangerous. However, the AI programming cores are decent as well. You just want to stay away from the M units if you can, other than the required one at the very beginning. But I went with the 3 bomber cores. So to start off, I'm going to show you the equipment. We're actually going to be doing magic builds for all 3. Now you could do a physical build for Barret, but for Cloud we're going to have the Mithril Saber and the Fury Ring. For Barret, the EKG Cannon and the Fury Ring. And for Tifa, the Mithril Claws and of course the Fury Ring. Now regarding the materia, you want to have Elemental and Lightning in Cloud's weapon slots. And then you're actually going to have HP Absorb and Lightning in the armor slot. Or at least linked, so that every time we use Thundaga, he's going to gain a good 2000 HP. You want to give him one of the magic ups, as well as the Steadfast Block. He does a couple attacks that are low damage attacks. Steadfast Block will help utilize that for ATB up, and then of course the standards HP up and MP up. And the Tifa is actually going to be exactly the same as Cloud, so give her the exact same setup. Barret is going to be slightly different here because we're actually going to give Barret the Magnify materia and the Time materia. He's going to be casting Haste. I gave him a luck up, but you might want to put a Thunder on there as well so he could help out with some of the damage. Of course, the Steadfast Block, the standards HP up and MP up. And I gave him a Revive materia. That's a good one. You could also replace the Thunder with, but you want to make sure that you have a healing materia on. And then you also want to have Bahamut. We are going to plan on summoning him. Now, he won't be doing the bulk of the damage, but he's definitely going to help out with some chip damage and his Mega Flare damage. So to start off, the first goal is to get Cloud up to 2 ATB charges. So as soon as you start, go ahead and switch into Punisher mode and start attacking. Now the goal here is to for phase 1 and phase 2 is to get that stagger meter up. We're waiting until Cloud gets to 2 charges, and we're waiting for Barret to get his charge to cast Haste. But as you can see, now we got 2, so Cloud is going to use a Thundaga, Tifa is going to use a Thundaga as well, and Barret is going to use Haste. And that's basically the strategy for phase 1. I know it seems complicated and goes by fast, but the idea is you're trying to get both his stagger gauge up and of course some damage. The reason I suggested that Cloud have 2 ATB charges before you launch those Thundagas so that he could use that focus strike for the while the Airbuster was pressured. Now, as soon as you get, anytime you get stunned, he will use the big bomber. Which is why we have Barret as our healer. We want Tifa and Cloud with the higher MP stats doing the magic damage. Barret's just going to heal during tough spots, basically. Again, you will be healed anytime Cloud and Tifa cast Thundaga as well. You can take that into account, but don't be skimpy with it. Just when you save Barret's ATB for healing. So for this next phase, as soon as it starts out, he is going to use a tank buster, so just hang back here. You can see your party members automatically clear themselves, and the goal for this phase is to get that stagger meter up. So you can see he's using his Divide and Conquer. We're just trying to get the stagger meter up with strikes, with Thundagas. The key is you want to try and not let him get into his third phase before you do the stagger. And I actually get pretty close here. and I actually got hit by that because I didn't recognize it coming in time. And this is, I left this in because this is something that can happen. If they have the electric shield on him, it's going to be harder to get that stagger up. So you see I'm sitting here like, okay, I don't want to bring him down and send him into the third phase, but the stagger meter is almost there. So I used, had Tifa use her Thundaga, and I think I had Cloud, as Cloud tried to focus strike just to get that stagger damage in, but it didn't work. So again, Thundaga. Luckily, he's not too dangerous in this phase as long as you know to run away during the tank buster attack and try and block those if you can. But you can see Cloud's health gets down, just Curaga him with Barret. It's pretty simple, just Thundagas, cure when you need, don't skimp on it. Barret should have plenty of MP. And of course, just like we did in the first phase, when haste runs out, feel free to do a magnified haste. And I think at this point, he's so close to being staggered, I had Tifa use her Thundaga, and it got the stagger at the same time it activated the third phase. So I got lucky there. Honestly, you don't need the summon, you don't need the stagger, but it does help. And for the third phase, and this is where the cheese comes in, for Cloud, you're just going to want to run all the way to the left, block those if you see it coming, and then you're just waiting for his ATB to come up and use Thundagas. There's a couple attacks he'll use while out there that you can't get hit by here, and the other attacks you can block, but basically you're just looking to use Thundaga with Cloud, who is the main damage dealer, and with Tifa. Save Barret's ATB for haste and cure. But you can see whenever he closes his fist is when he's doing an attack. So I was able to block that one, get some ATB, and actually use it to summon Bahamut. Now if you summon Bahamut too early, it's not that big a deal, because as long as you wait to summon him until the third phase, he's going to do the same amount of damage throughout the fight anyway. And that's basically the strategy. Block when you can, and just keep using Thundagas. You get all your MP back before the start of the next chapter, and there's no enemies if you know this cutscene, so go ham. As soon as you get those ATBs, use Thundaga with Cloud, use Thundaga with Tifa, and heal and haste with Barret when you need to. At this point, I probably could have Thundaga'd with Barret as well, but we do want to keep Cloud's life up because he will focus on Cloud for the most part. Luckily, you don't have to worry about the tank buster ability, because whenever he uses it, your party members will run out of the way, and you are out of the path anyway. And that's basically it. You can see Bahamut is just kind of doing chip damage there, and then his Mega Flare I think does a 9999, which is basically 2 Thundagas. So it pays for itself regarding the ATB usage. Now this is technically phase 4, but it's basically the same. Just block when you see him launch an attack and just wait for those ATBs. And that's it. It's actually a lot simpler. It's still a little stressful because of how fast paced it is, but it requires very little reaction time. As long as you don't, as long as you're not afraid to use Barret's MP. Look how much MP Barret has left. Go ahead and use his MP to heal Cloud, and Tifa should be getting her own health back from her Thundagas, and there you go. Just try and get that stagger during the second phase, but your basic goal is to Thundaga and hide. It's pretty simple, just if not a bit fast-paced, but that's about the extent of it. I'm going to let this play out a little more because I don't know why, but I'm the Strategic Gamer, and I hope it helps.